Hey guys, welcome back to Cozy Craft. You know what I recently noticed on YouTube? The amount of AI story channels people are doing now. So because of that, I'm now going to deliver you 20 minutes of unhinged relationship stories. And as for today's video, it's going to be about cheating. So as you can probably tell, this will get very interesting very quickly. And whilst I'm reading you guys these stories, I'm going to be exploring this maze map I found on the internet. So sit back, relax, fall asleep, and enjoy the video. So let's dive into the first story. This is titled, She Blamed Him for Her Own Cheating 4 months before the wedding. So just for some context, the story comes from a 32-year-old man whose fiancée was 31, and it starts like this. Let me start from the beginning. Yesterday, I met my fiancée at our wedding venue for our 4-month out meeting to finalise details. We drove to the venue separately because she was just leaving straight from work. Towards the end of the meeting, she let me know her friend needed a ride home after dropping off a rental car and asked if it would be okay. I said yes, thinking nothing of it. It wasn't far from her home, so I know her friend well. I got home and tried to get in touch with her for the next 3 hours. No answer. Around the hour and a half mark, I texted a friend and asked if she had made it okay. I was very worried. My fiancée eventually came home and said sorry it took longer than expected. She'd hung out with her friend for a bit before leaving. Okay, no big deal. Just let me know next time. But then her friend got back to me a few minutes later and said she couldn't make it to the venue and hadn't seen my fiancée that night. I asked my fiancée about it and she said she didn't know what her friend was talking about, then walked outside. I was sketched out beyond belief at this point. I have never done this before, but I looked at her phone records and I don't regret it. I saw that the moment she stepped outside, she called the same friend who had just texted me. I also noticed a 1-hour call with a number I didn't recognize made on her way to the venue earlier that day. I asked her about the rental place, asked her several other questions. She had quick answers and they seemed plausible. I thought maybe I was being crazy and I just needed to sleep on it. The next morning, I asked her to show me the text from her friend asking for the ride. I told her I'd apologize for questioning her if she could just show me. She said no. I brought up the call on the way to the venue. She said it was the friend she picked up later. That's when I knew for a fact she was lying. I told her I had checked her phone records and knew that wasn't true. Her story changed immediately. Now it was a co-worker. She had to meet a co-worker in person to demonstrate some medical techniques. His name was Michael. I asked to see the text with Michael. She refused. I asked again. I said, "Are you having an affair? Do you not want to be together anymore?" She paused and then proceeded to tell me everything that was supposedly wrong with me. I work too much, I don't spend enough time with her, I don't listen. I was completely blindsided. None of this had ever been communicated to me before. After about 30 minutes of pushing, she finally let me see the texts, and they were devastating. Sexual messages, talking about being in love with him, talking a lot of trash about me. She had only just started this job 6 weeks earlier. He was 15 to 20 years older, divorced with multiple kids. I have been financially supporting her for the past few months while she got back on her feet. I was even working extra hours so she wouldn't have to pick up a part-time job. We own a house together, have 3 dogs and a horse, and we were supposed to get married in 4 months. So that was the start of the story, and now he's come back with an update, and this is what he has now said. I have finally sat down with her tonight to go through everything. Again, she came in trying to blame me. She said she wouldn't have started talking to this guy if I'd been a better listener and communicator. She said I spent too much time working and not enough time with her. I tried to explain that the extra hours were specifically to support her financially, so she wouldn't need a second job. She said she would have preferred a second job. She also seemed to believe that because it had only been going on for a week, and because they only had made out once, that we should just move past it. When I brought up the texts, the ones trashing me, the sexual ones, she deflected completely and I got nowhere. I told her I was not the reason this happened. She went too far. She should have communicated her feelings instead of going down this road. I told her I can never trust her again, and that is entirely the result of her own actions, regardless of how she wants to frame it. By the end of the conversation, things got a bit calmer. We talked practically about the house, which we own jointly, and the 3 dogs. We agreed that either I stay out and buy her out, or we sell and both move on. The dogs, one of us will take one, the other 2 will still be decided. She'll be taking the horse when she leaves and boarding it to the barn. The house is nearly 3,000 square feet on 5 acres of land, which we bought specifically to accommodate the horse. Financially, I could support it on my own, but that's what I'm still weighing. So that's the second part of the story, and he came back with another update the following day and said this. Day 3, we had our 3-hour conversation tonight. She started again by telling me what I did wrong. Lack of communication, too much time working, too much time on my phone. I don't disagree with all of it. My mindset behind working so much was always providing for us. I run an e-commerce business on the side and I'm a one-man customer service operation. Deals happen around the clock and I'm never fully off. I could have done better about setting the phone down and responding to people the next day. I also acknowledged the lack of communication was on both sides. The proof of that is the fact that I had no idea she was unhappy. She said she felt I would have gotten upset if she told me, but she never actually gave me the chance to work on any of it. One example she brought up, a week or 2 ago, I sat down with her to go through her finances. I work in the financial industry and do this for clients regularly. She had mentioned she thought she owed me around $1,000 and would pay me back next paycheck. When I actually went through our transfers I had made to our joint accounts, it was over $5,000. My intention was to not make her feel bad. It was to show her how much I'd been putting in. She took it as humiliation. Maybe my timing was off, but I was only trying to make sure we'd be okay financially with the wedding still coming up. What keeps bothering me is the way she keeps framing her cheating as a direct result of my flaws. She told me she was surprised I would throw away 7 years like this. I keep having to remind her, I didn't throw anything away. She did. She also told me I told way too many people too quickly and that we could have handled this between us. She told me she wouldn't have had to talk to someone else if I had just been a better listener and communicator. I've now confirmed the full extent of the affair and I actually believe it based on the text I read. They had been talking for 1 or 2 weeks before things started turning physical. He asked her to the park to play basketball and they ended up making out. I genuinely believe it didn't go any further than that yet. But it would have, I'm certain of it. She says he's not her boyfriend. She also took off tonight and I have no idea where she is. The living situation is awkward, but I'm hoping it resolves soon. I called the wedding venue today and officially cancelled the date. We got some money back but lost a portion unless the venue can rebook the date, which is unlikely. I also spoke with her parents again to keep them updated. They live far away and I know they are worried, so I keep reassuring them that things are calm and that their daughter is okay. After looking at the numbers, I've decided the best move financially is to stay in the house and buy out her share. Interest rates are where they are and I genuinely cannot find a comparable place for what I'm currently paying. She seems agreeable for the arrangement. We'll have an appraisal come out to assess the value and figure out what her half of the equity looks like. I started hitting the gym today and plan to keep the routine going. I took the week off work to focus on the mental health. I've started to see a therapist for the first time in my life. Weekly sessions. It's already helping me talk things through and make clearer decisions. And I think I'll continue even after all of this is settled. Right, he's come back a month later now and he's posted the final update on this whole situation. So far, this is a bit crazy. I don't know what I would do. But let's see what he would say. I'm not going to lie, in the first few days after this happened, I was a mess. I was groveling, trying everything I could to get back with her. It's embarrassing to admit, but it happened, and it was part of the process. Then came the moment that snapped me out of it. I was told she had to make a choice, me or him, and she chose him. I think that's when I finally woke up and realised I let my self-worth completely fall apart. After 7 years of making everything about someone else, I had to start making decisions based on what was actually best for me. I moved our joint savings into my personal checking account, did the math on what was owed to me, and transferred her fair share back to the joint account for her to collect. I've been working out every day since this started. It clears my head and helps me think straight. I've gone suit shopping, gotten a massage, spent time with friends and family, people I drifted from over the years, which I now recognise as a major red flag I should have paid more attention to. I never used to do anything for myself. I was always focused on providing and taking care of everything else. That's changing. Therapy has been invaluable. As for the house, she's still living here. She's in the guest bedroom, and our only communication at this point is whether or not the dogs have been fed. I think she's a terrible person, and no matter what I say, in her mind this will always be my fault. To accuse someone of being a bad communicator and then use it as an excuse to go out and cheat, while never once communicating her feelings directly, is the definition of hypocrisy. I've stopped trying to reason with her. She's not reasonable. The house is listed for sale. I contacted 3 agents, set up all the appointments, met with all of them, because that's how this relationship actually works. And even though it isn't fair, I just wanted to get this finished and get out. We went to the first agent, photos were taken, the listing went live, and it's already getting a lot of attention. Open houses this coming Saturday. She's taken the horse to the barn somewhere to be determined. For the dogs, I offered to take one or none. She said she'd take all 3 to keep them together. They are a happy group and I don't want to break them up. It also gives me a clean start. Unexpectedly, I met someone about a week ago and I've been spending quite a bit of time with her. I have no false expectations. I'm not rushing anything, but it's genuinely good. She's been going through something similar and has been a quiet source of support through all of this. It's been eye-opening to spend time with someone who is kind, independent, and thoughtful. It's made me see very clearly what a narcissist my ex was: completely self-centered, dependent, and manipulative. I should have listened to the warnings from the family and friends a long time ago, fell into a comfortable routine, nice house, land, animals, and I just kept going without ever asking myself if I was actually happy. You don't realise that until you step back and truly look at it. Wow, so that was a crazy story, and that really hits hard because of the audacity of the cheating on someone, even after getting caught with tax receipts right there on the screen, and still spending the next several days trying to convince that same person it was actually their fault. The irony of accusing someone of being a bad communicator while never once communicating your unhappiness, and instead going out and kissing a co-worker, is staggering. His flaws were normal relationship friction, hers was a deliberate choice. The real turning point was when she chose the other guy over him, because that one moment of brutal honesty gave him exactly the clarity he needed to stop groveling and start rebuilding. He walked out of this situation with more self-awareness than most people develop in a lifetime. Right, let's move on to the second story. This is titled, "He Brought Her Flowers on Their Anniversary and Found Her with Another Man." So for context, this is a 35-year-old man. Yesterday was his 10th wedding anniversary, and here's what he posted. "Yesterday was our 10th anniversary. I work construction, so my schedule is weather dependent. When it rains hard enough, we get sent home. Too dangerous to keep working. This past Thursday, we started at 6 in the morning, and by mid-morning, the rain hit hard. We were sent home. I went to the gym like usual, but cut my workout short and decided to do something nice. I stopped and picked up some flowers, then headed downtown to surprise my wife Megan at her office, hoping to catch her before lunch and make plans for dinner that evening. We hadn't seen much of each other that week. For the past month or so, she'd been putting in long hours on a major work project, coming in early, staying late, trying to hit a big deadline. This was a career-defining project for her, and I was proud of her for it. I walked into the building around 12:30. Nicole was at the receptionist desk. I'd planned and asked if she could put the flowers on Megan's desk. Nicole smiled and said she didn't think they'd gone for lunch yet. Why not just drop them off yourself? She buzzed me through. The office was quiet, almost completely empty. I walked to Megan's office. The door was closed, but that's normal. I usually just walk in unless I'm told she's in the meeting. I opened the door. Some guy was standing behind her, nuzzling her neck. She was reaching back over his head, giggling only the way she can. She was saying something like, "We've got to get this done." I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. I slammed the flowers down on her desk, said "Happy Anniversary," and walked out. I didn't wait to hear what she said. I walked past Nicole, said goodbye, made it to the elevator and out the building, and then I completely fell apart. I cried the entire drive home. I went straight to the garage, pulled my camping gear out of the rafters, and just left. I drove about 2 hours to a state park. I had no idea what to do. I just had to run. I hiked a trail we had done together before, about a 3-hour hike. I don't drink much, so there's no alcohol involved. I just sat there thinking. Looking back, I'm glad I was in a rush and I didn't bring my .45 caliber like I would normally do when camping in a bear country. The way I was feeling that night, I might have done something I couldn't take back. My phone kept going off, all Megan. I turned it off. Eventually, I drove out the park to get some reception and turned my phone back on. A close friend had called. Megan had reached out to him, asked him to check on me, make sure I didn't do anything stupid. I called him back, told him I needed time to think it through and that I'd catch up with him Friday. So I started going back through our marriage from the beginning, trying to figure out what I missed. We came from completely different worlds, and I was raised by my grandfather and my mum. He had a saying for everything. He told me marriage would be the hardest job I ever had, that you had to work on it every single day. We didn't have much growing up, but my brother and I never felt we were missing out on anything. Megan was born into money, not overly rich, but very comfortable. Great college, always had nice clothes and a nice car, and she is beautiful. 11 out of 10 beautiful. I used to joke with her about the silver spoon getting stuck in her throat. I genuinely couldn't believe a woman like her would choose me. Our friends called us a model couple, not as a metaphor, but because people actually thought we were models. Our families had reservations at first, worried the economic gap would cause problems, but things smoothed out over time. We made a deal early on to truly experience each other's lives. I took her whitewater rafting and ziplining. She took me to some symphony and art openings. I ended up genuinely enjoying it. I now own 2 tuxedos. Looking back, I truly did not see any red flags. At her first 2 jobs, she quit because the men treated her as a showpiece, parading her into conferences, getting her drunk, and in one case, a partner tried to force his way into her hotel room. Her 3rd job has women in leadership positions, and none of that has happened. She seemed genuinely happy there. We seemed very happy. So now, it's Friday. I'm home. I call her, she's back at work, I'm in a smart-ass mood, and I say the marriage seems to be taking a second place to her job. She says, since I wouldn't talk to her, what was she supposed to do? Fair enough, she'll be home in an hour. I'm waiting. I want to save our marriage. If I'm failing to provide something, I want to know and I want to fix it. I want to understand the why behind what I saw, but I can't accept I don't know as an answer. I know I'll get emotional and lose track of my questions, so I plan on going over everything multiple times over the coming days. Whatever she's done, she is still my wife, and I am not looking for her to be torn apart. Wow, there's something uniquely brutal about this one. He showed up with flowers on their anniversary, and that's how we found out. The detail about the camping trip and the gun isn't just a throwaway line. It tells you everything about how completely destroyed he was in that moment. What stands out is that even after witnessing something like that, this man is still leading with patience and a genuine desire to understand. Whether that's admirable or heartbreaking probably depends on entirely how the conversation with Megan actually goes, because right now she hasn't given him a single reason to believe she deserves that kind of grace. Let's move on to the 3rd story I have found, and this is titled, She Found Out 2 days ago before the wedding and married him anyway. And for context, this is coming from a 25-year-old woman, and it's a short story, but it hits hard. So this is what she wrote. So the last month, I found out my boyfriend of 5 years had been cheating on me. I found out 2 days before our wedding. I received a text from an unknown number saying he had been cheating on me for a year, with proof attached. My world shattered. This man showed me no signs of it whatsoever. He also told me he loved me, did everything for me, seemed like the perfect partner. That same night, I confronted him with his mother present. He admitted everything. He said it was over, that he deeply regretted it, and begged me to forgive him. He vowed it would never happen again. His mother stood by my side and made it clear that the choice was entirely mine. Go ahead with the wedding or don't. I decided to stay. He truly seemed apologetic, and I chose to believe that. Since we got married, he has been nothing but amazing. He makes sure my flower jar's never empty. He's been repenting. Whenever I get upset, he comes running. Even though I've forgiven him, there are still parts of me that don't fully trust him. But we're working through it together. Did I make the right choice? This one is a short one, but it does sit with you. Finding out your partner has been cheating on you for an entire year and then finding out 2 days before the wedding as well is almost cinematic on how devastating it is. She's been honest about the fact that the trust isn't fully there yet, and that's worth acknowledging. But the detail that's hard to shake is the timing of the anonymous text. Whoever sent it had 4 years worth of information and chose to send it 48 hours before the ceremony. That timing alone raises its own questions. Nobody seems to be asking them. Right, that's it guys. Thank you so much for listening to these stories. Thank you so much for the support from the previous video. I really appreciate it. Just trying different styles of stories and seeing what you guys like the most. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.